Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Courageous Chick, where we talk all things personal development, self-discovery, health and wellness, and overall lifestyle. I'm Shakia Mayer. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you are wondering why I'm looking this way and that way, it's just because I'm trying something out. I'm experimenting. And so I'm going live from two different devices. So that's why you might see my eyes shift. It's just because I am making sure everything's okay. Also, if you guys saw my setup, it is absolutely hilarious. Hashtag humble beginnings. But we're gonna just jump into it. So what I wanted to talk about today was growing pains, and what that has to do with snakes, okay? Why am I talking about snakes today? So I woke up, not thinking about snakes, but I woke up thinking about change. I woke up thinking about change because I had read this book yesterday, and I'll do another video going into more detail about the book. But I read this book and I was reflecting on change, how I deal with change, how I've grown and my mindset as it relates to change, and what are some things I can work on so that as I continue to go through transitions in my life, I can roll with it instead of, resisting it. I always like to make sure I'm checking in with myself, hashtag self-awareness, right? And so I woke up with that on my mind. And then I was thinking about how people are resistant to change, right? So how even though we are always going to go through change, we're always going to be in some season of our lives, we're always going to be in some stage or phase of our lives, change is always going to happen. Yet and still, people are fighting it. People don't want it, right? They resist it. And so what happens when you resist something? It causes more like chaos, right? So you're resisting your reality in that moment, whatever the change is. And so what does this have to do with snakes? Right? And I started thinking about, which is, don't get me started on how my brain works with associations, but snakes, how snakes shed their skin, right? They go through this process multiple times a year. They go through this process of shedding. And it has different names, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to call it shedding. They go through this process of shedding their skin. And as that's happening, or they start to shed as they start to grow. And so many of us are walking around in our skin that we know we need to start getting rid of. We know we need to start shedding. We know we need to allow it to go. But we hold on to this skin, whatever that skin is for you, we hold on to it because we don't want change. You hold on to it because you don't want change. So you hold on to the skin of self-sabotage. Why haven't you been promoted at your job? Because maybe you keep showing up and you're sabotaging yourself every time you show up, or every time you show up to a meeting, right? Why haven't you started your business? Because now you're holding on to that skin of limiting beliefs that says you're not good enough, that says you never will, that says you can't start, that says who would want to buy your products, who would want to read your book, who would want to use your services. You hold on to the skin of self-doubt. You hold on to the skin of fear that says, oh no, don't do that. Caution all around, danger all around. Oh no, that's too dangerous. You hold on to all these different types of skin, even though you're growing. And so as you're holding on to this, to the self-doubt, the self-sabotage, the fear, you don't allow the growth that could happen. You don't allow it to be. And so all the potential you have, all the potential that you have, the unlimited potential that you have, and all that you could become gets wrapped up and trapped in this old skin. So some of y'all have to start shedding the skin you're in. Shed the skin you're in. Shed the extra weight of self-doubt, self-sabotage, fear. Whatever it is that's holding you back, the limiting beliefs, the thought of you not being good enough, the thought of you not being deserving, the thought of you not being worthy, you need to start shedding the skin. Because the more you hold on to it, the more you keep fighting and resisting it, the more you get trapped in this circumstance and situation you're in, the more you get trapped in this space and in this phase. And now your next season is waiting for you, right? It's waiting for you to show up. But in order for that to happen, you have to grow. In order for that to happen, you got to roll with change, because that's what happens as we grow, right? And as we change and as we embrace change, we're also growing. But if we keep resisting it, fighting against it, and holding on to that skin, how can you grow? It's going to keep feeling like this, like something is trying to emerge, something is trying to come out, something is trying to grow, something is trying to blossom, but you keep blocking it. Shed the skin. Shed the skin of self-doubt, of self-pity. Shed the skin of limiting beliefs. Shed the skin that you're not good enough. Shed the skin that nobody loves you. Shed the skin that nobody cares about, your books, or nobody cares about you, or the things that you want to do. Let's say you want to be a writer. Shed the skin that nobody would read your stuff. Shed the skin of limiting beliefs. In order for you to get to your next level, you got to let some things go. You got to drop some weight. You got to divorce some ideologies, because if you hold on to it, this is my promise, you will not get to where you want to go. All the dreams you have, I'm telling you, it gets caught and wrapped up and suffocated in that old skin. So shed it. Like I said, snakes do this multiple times out of the year. They're growing and they're shedding the skin multiple times out of the year. And we as individuals, like as I said before, change is always happening to us, around us, for us. Change is always happening. And so as it's happening, guess what? We too get to shed some skin and some dead weight multiple times a year too. As we check in with ourselves, we see, oh, you know what? This is no longer working for me. That self-doubt is no longer working for me. The limiting beliefs no longer working for me. Things I keep telling myself I can't do, that's no longer working for me. This toxic relationship is no longer working for me. This toxic marriage or toxic job is no longer working for me. Shed those limiting beliefs. Divorce it. Let it go. Drop it. And sometimes, as I said before, not sometimes, but you're going to be doing this at multiple points in your life. Because guess what? Change don't stop just because we hit a certain age or a certain point in our lives. It's always happening. And because it's always happening, if you allow yourself, you're always evolving, which means you're learning, you're growing, you're doing, and you're getting to your next phase. And what's your next phase? For you, it could be that promotion. For you, it could be that happy marriage. It could be those purposeful relationships, friendships. For you, it could be the business that you wanted to start. For you, it could be the weight that you wanted to lose. For you, it could be the self-love you wanted to have. But you can't get there if you hold on to this old skin. Let it go. Shed the skin that's no longer serving you. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching, whether you are watching live or on the replay. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. As always, have a courageous day, and I will talk to you all real soon. Bye.